Becoming a millionaire is more common than you think. Last year, 1,000 new millionaires were being made every single day in the US. And you know what? Most of them were just regular people like you and me. So why am I talking to you about this? Well, about 20 years ago, when I just turned 18, I decided to take control of my finances and start making my own money because I didn't want to have my mom and dad support me anymore. After working several jobs and doing tons of research, I came up with a plan to make my first $1 million. And after a little over a decade, I became one of those 1,000 a day millionaires. And yes, I truly believe anyone, no matter how small your income is or how old you are, you can also do the same if you have the right plan. If you're new here, hi, my name is Steve, and I'm going to share the exact roadmap I follow to help you hit your first million this year. The first step is taking stock of what you believe. Maybe you clicked on this video out of curiosity, but deep down, you probably don't actually think that you can become a millionaire. And that's the belief that I want to challenge. You see, I've always thought that I couldn't become rich because my parents grew up poor and came to the US as struggling immigrants with literally just 4 luggages. I thought that because my parents were poor, I was also going to become poor as an adult. Back then, most people around me also didn't believe that they could become millionaires either. The voices in my head and the ones around me were all saying the same thing. This just isn't in the cards for you. But one of my close friends and mentor had already done it and grew up in a similar upbringing as me. And unlike the rest, he told me that I could do it too. The more I had conversations with him, the more I strengthened the belief that this goal was actually possible. So today, I want to be that person for you. If you keep thinking that this is just wishful thinking, you're going to always stay stuck. You have to really believe that you can become a millionaire if you want it to become a reality. Another belief that you may need to challenge is your views on money. For me, I noticed that many people subconsciously believe wealth is immoral or that making a lot of money means that you are somehow cheating the system. And guess what? If you hold these beliefs, I feel like you'll be working towards becoming something you despise. And this is kind of weird because you're going to be creating this internal conflict that actively sabotages your efforts. I had this classmate in my college biology class who always complained about wealthy people but secretly wanted to be rich. He had this deep-seated belief that money corrupted, and this kept him from ever pursuing financial growth. So look, this is what I learned. Wealth isn't inherently evil. It gives you options to do more good, to help your family, or even contribute to causes you care about. My own journey has shown me that making more money can create a butterfly effect that positively impacts more people than just yourself. So something that you can do today is start by writing down everything you believe about money. Ask yourself, what are your deeply held beliefs about wealth? Are they serving you or maybe even holding you back? And for those of you who don't know, I just came out with my book last year, which is the step-by-step guide on how to get out of debt and improve your finances. I used to be a public school teacher, and I actually made this book for my students because I remember what it felt like to be totally lost with money. And if you're interested, I'm actually giving away free copies right now. If you want one, I'll leave a link in the description and I'll send it to you right away. Now, once your mindset is in the right place, the next step is to find your niche and to understand how wealth is actually built. Look, money comes from creating something valuable that other people want, which will directly affect how much you earn. So how do you figure out what kind of value you can offer the world? There's this framework that I use called the hedgehog concept, which is based on the old Greek saying, the fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows only one big thing. So what you can do is picture 3 circles that overlap in the middle. The first circle is what you're passionate about. This doesn't mean that you have to be obsessed with it. It just has to bring you some kind of joy. For example, maybe you recently taught a friend how to play a sport or lift weights. Your first thought might be that you enjoy exercising, but maybe it was actually teaching your friend that made your day. The second circle is what you could become really good at. Sure, it could be a skill that you study like law or medicine, but it might also be something that you picked up naturally. Maybe you taught yourself a little bit of coding so you could tweak your WordPress site. Or maybe you helped plan a big family event and surprise yourself by how well it went. The last circle is what people are actually looking for. If you pour your savings into an ice cream truck and park it in an empty park during winter, chances are you're not going to make much. But if you could park a hot chocolate truck outside of a busy office building, you could quickly become the go-to spot for coworkers during lunch. Really, it's no use having a great idea if there isn't a market for it. I feel like your sweet spot is where all of these 3 circles overlap, and this is called your value zone. This is where your business idea or career path should come from. For example, I love teaching people how to achieve financial freedom. I'm good at breaking down complex topics, and I know that there's a huge demand for that kind of knowledge. And yeah, once I saw this clearly, I knew this could be the core of how I offer value to the world. I feel like many people fail because they only focus on 1 or 2 circles. Maybe they love something, but they aren't getting paid for it, or maybe they're good at something, but maybe, nobody wants wants it, or maybe they're good at chasing money in a job that they don't really like. And I feel like this is something that a lot of my friends who work in corporate always tell me about. I really believe that it's important that you have all three circles if you really want to succeed. Now that you understand value, let's see how you can increase your income. Look, even if you save, say, I don't know, $2,000 a month, it will still take you over 40 years to hit $1 million through savings alone. The idea of working a 9 to 5 and slowly increasing your wealth through the occasional salary increase won't get you your first million in a short amount of time. The best way to overcome this is to focus on earning more. First, you can increase your current income. Whether you're a highly skilled lawyer or working at McDonald's, there's always a way to earn more. If you fall into the first category, job hopping can make a big difference. I recently came across this article about Janelle Romero, who was this employment attorney from New York City, and she grew her income from $40,000 to $225,000 in just 6 years. So how did she do this? Well, she was really smart from jumping job to job. Besides the pay increases, she also said that her new role helped her build her new skills and gain unique industry experience. Back in my parents' day, I know that job hopping was kind of frowned upon. My dad raised me to believe that loyalty was pretty much everything. But the truth is, after 10 years of loyal service, the most that you might get is some sort of plaque and maybe a fancy watch that just ends up on a shelf. I believe that job hopping works well if you're in fields like software development, marketing, finance, or anything with high demand and transferable skills. So let's say that you're in sales. You can try speaking to your boss about starting a commission system. By doing this actually gives you more incentive to perform well, and it actually helps your company, your boss, boost their bottom line. And if you offer one-on-one services like I did when I was tutoring, you can see if you can turn that into a 2-on-1 or maybe a 3-on-1 or even a 20-on-1 setup. That way you can earn more without adding extra hours to your day. In the end, if you're willing to get a little bit more creative, there's almost always a way to increase your current income. And once you've done this, you can start adding extra revenue streams that push your earnings even further. This is where your side hustle comes in. This is a thing that you do in the evenings or on the weekends to bring in that extra income you need to reach your millionaire goal. And with this could be some sort of extension to your day job. For example, someone who works as a marketing specialist might freelance as a marketing consultant after hours. Or it could be a skill that didn't quite fit into your hedgehog concept but still has potential. Let's say that you're like me who loves dogs and you spent your childhood looking after them, but there isn't much of a dog walking market in your area. You could try offering this work in other neighborhoods or simply show your immediate neighbors the value of having a regular dog walker. In other words, look for ways to fill a gap and turn it into income. For me, I was really shy growing up, so I never imagined myself making YouTube videos that would become one of my revenue streams. But after looking through everything, I saw that there was a lot of interest in finance content, and since I'm already a trained teacher, I pushed myself out of my comfort zone and started making videos. Similarly, if you can find ways to add value, you can also create a new revenue stream. Another great side hustle is starting your own business. And of course, there's always a chance it won't turn a profit. But if you're okay with the risk and if it takes off, it could give you a steady stream of extra income that can help you become a millionaire. And really, the best ideas might be right in your own backyard. Pay attention to what your community needs and see if you can fill that gap. Step 4, manage your money well. If you follow the first 3 steps, I'm pretty sure that you're going to have more income hitting your bank accounts each month. And when this happens, it's easy to get a little bit carried away by starting to buy all of these things that you've been dreaming about. And really, this is where you need to have a lot of discipline. This doesn't mean that you should never buy yourself anything nice. In fact, I think it's motivating to treat yourself now and then, maybe a dinner out with friends or something new for your home. At this stage, you just want to make sure that you don't go overboard. Your extra income needs to be handled wisely. According to the national study of millionaires, 85% of millionaires bring a shopping list with them whenever they go to the grocery store. And yeah, I do this every single week with Daisy whenever we go out to Trader Joe's and Aldi. This is because a lot of these millionaires put a lot of thought into each purchase. Look, if you want to grow your money, you have to be intentional on how you spend it. Now, after this step, one of the first things to focus on with your new income is paying off any outstanding debt. A friend of mine taught me a great lesson a few years ago. He was juggling several debts he couldn't pay off at once, but he was serious about becoming debt-free so he could start building wealth. So what did he do? Well, he actually started by going through his bank statements and looking at all his recurring payments. Pretty quickly, he noticed that he was still paying for games that he no longer played and streaming services that he barely used. So he canceled all of those and he put that money towards his debt instead. He also automated all of his repayments and even called called a few creditors to negotiate better payment terms. And you know what? By the end of that year, he was completely debt-free. Now, if you made it through all of these steps, the last one, and arguably the most important, is to invest your new earnings. Look, I've said this many times, but leaving your money in a low-interest bank account like Chase, Wells Fargo, or Bank of America, it's not going to help it grow. What you need to do instead is have your money start working for you. When it comes to investing, time is actually your biggest ally, so you don't want to put it off. So yeah, let me give you an example. Say that you invest $5,000 per year consistently and earn an average return of, say, 8% starting at the age of 25. And from there, you could have around $1.2 million by the time you're 65. But guess what? If you actually wait just 10 years and you start at the age of 35 instead of 25, that number drops to around $566,000. That's a difference of more than $700,000 just because you started 10 years later. If you're new to investing, I always suggest starting with money that's already available to you. For example, if your employer offers to match your retirement contributions like a 401k, then yeah, you should take it. It's basically free money, so why would you say no to it? You should also consider opening a Roth IRA, which is a retirement account where your investments can grow tax-free. While your contributions are made after tax, your earnings and withdrawals in retirement are completely tax and penalty-free, which can save you a fortune over time. And look, if you're tired of Googling how to invest, my beginner investing class is the answer. It's kind of crazy, but over 50,000 people have already taken my free class, and you can join to see why it actually works. I'll go over the best accounts to open, how to pick your first stock, and the 3 most common mistakes beginners make. You can sign up here or in the description below, and I'll see you in class.